It's like having one of those slip copies of credit card numbers sitting in a box and then just kind of leaving it out in the middle of the street. Like, hey, information's there for you guys to take. I don't know who's going to drive by. I don't know for what purpose they're going to use that information for, but it's very similar.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business, not S.O.B as in S.O.B.
Son of a biscuit.
Yeah, not that. We are here today, as always, bringing you some marketing topics, tactics, all that good stuff. Before we get started, though, I do want to say thank you again for listening. You know, if you have a friend, a small business owner that you know that doesn't listen to us, but you think they could really benefit from listening to it, go ahead and share this podcast with them. We're here to help you guys with your marketing and feel comfortable with your marketing for your small-owned business. So, okay, what are we talking about today, Vivian?
Chelsea, we are finally talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and basically asking the most important question as of right now in 2023, has it gone too far? Because we know as small business owners that there is some trepidation about utilizing artificial intelligence and AI. And I know we have talked about this topic before, but it was from a different angle as far as we had a professional on to help guide us and tell us what not to do and the stuff, you know, we need to be thinking about before we kind of get ourselves in a pickle with AI. But this conversation really, I think we're going to stick to figuring out, just having a really open and honest conversation as two marketing professionals about what our honest thoughts are around this subject, because it's just like in this gray space right now. And so, Chelsea, I don't want you to hold back today.
Okay, I got you. Well, I do want to say this whole conversation, the idea for this podcast, you know, has AI gone too far, was Vivian was explaining to me what app or service were you using? Which one is it?
Descript.
Okay, so you were telling me that on Descript, now if your eyes aren't looking at the camera, it'll automatically move your eyes to be looking at the camera now?
Yeah, so Descript, for those of you that don't know, it's a tool that we use quite a bit with video production. And so basically what it does is it allows you to edit any videos that you are creating from the script. Okay, so you import the video, it will translate and transcribe the video to the left-hand side of the screen. And then instead of you actually having to watch and rewatch and slice it from the frames, you can actually go in and highlight sentences that you want to delete, highlight them, press delete, and then it clips out that portion of it. So it just makes it so much more efficient to be able to edit videos. And we highly encourage you, because Chelsea and I are always looking for ways to be more productive during the day and just not spend our time doing silly little things. And Descript has really helped with everything from like course creation to doing YouTube tutorials, all that stuff. But so now, this is where what Chelsea is talking about comes in. Her and I had a discussion not too long ago where I had told you, Chelsea, that the hardest part about creating a video is that sometimes you're in this weird space where you're like, okay, do I read from a script because I want to be sure that I get everything that I want into the video, or do I just ad lib, which more than likely I'll forget things, or do I memorize and then run the risk of it seeming like not, you know, my natural speech pattern? And so now there's a solution for this because Descript, you're able to read from a script. So let's say my eyes are naturally going to be reading off of a screen to the
Yep.
right.
Uh-huh.
I could go in and I can actually apply this filter or this AI tool that they have within the platform that will then adjust my eyes to look like they're looking forward straight at the video instead of looking at the script. And so it was interesting to me because I had this really weird reaction where as a video person, I'm creating videos all the time. I'm like, this is fabulous. And then there was that part of me where I was just like, oh, this is kind of sad because it's creating this like alter reality that isn't really true, right? Because I really am reading from a script off to the right-hand side. Instead, it's adjusting my eyesight.
I'll say when you told me about it, my very first reaction was, that's so creepy. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, that was my first reaction, was that's so creepy. But the more that I thought about it, I was like, well, I can understand how that's helpful, So I get it. I understand. I think I also, and I'm sure you know this about me, I am a good public speaker. So I'm good at ad-libbing. I just write down like bullet points, like this is something I absolutely have to say. And the rest of it, I just talk, and usually it works out fine. I don't really have a problem with that. So the idea to me of reading a script, like there's no reason for me to do that. So I think my first reaction was, that's so weird. That's so creepy. Like it gave me the heebie-jeebies.
And see, as someone who's like the exact opposite, it's not that I'm bad at public speaking. It's just when I'm creating like video tutorials, I'm very cognizant that I have to provide value. And the thing is, instead of running the risk of like rambling, I need to be very succinct in the way that I present it. And so that's why scripting helps me, because I'm able to go back and edit the script. And, I'm a much better writer than I am, ad-libbing. And so I think that's where, for me, I was like, wow, super useful tool. I probably could use it. Now, I haven't tried it yet. So I guess that's the next part of it, is to see how well it actually will do. And actually, I think that's what this week's marketing video is going to be on our YouTube channel. It's going to be about this feature in particular.
I do think it also comes from you and I coming from different perspectives, because you're the one who does our YouTube videos. I'm the one who does our social media. So social media is a little bit more like loose, and I can get away with just talking. But, our YouTube videos, like you were saying, it has to be specific. You have to make sure you get all the information in. So I think that's also part of it too, us coming from two different perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is maybe for some small business owners out there that are listening to this, they're like, I have absolutely no need for an AI application like this or an AI tool. But for others who perhaps are pumping out a lot of content and a lot of video, it could be something that that really makes the difference for them. And they're thinking, oh, great, instead of me shooting something 20 million times and being sure that my eyes are fixated on the video camera in front of me, right? So it looks a little more intimate and a little more natural. Now I can actually not worry about that, and then just apply this AI feature to help adjust my eye movement.
I do want to say, this reminds me when I worked at the allergy place. We would do videos with the doctors, and they just like refused to do multiple takes. They didn't want to do multiple takes. They didn't want to like ad lib. They wanted to read off a script. So I would tape the script onto the back of my phone so that they would be looking at my phone, but they would just be reading.
Oh, absolutely. Karen and I were just talking about this yesterday, because she was shooting a video over the weekend to help with a political campaign that's going on here locally. And she said, I was surprised because the video was not going to be that long. So I thought I was going to pump it out really quick. And really the hiccup she was having was more so in, how do I digest the script or get everything I want to say into the video without me forgetting or, messing up a certain part of it. And so that's where, and she did talk about what you just said, which is she took the actual script or the talking points and she put it near where her eyesight should be. And so that way it would look like she was naturally talking to the camera. And so there are small tweaks that you could do like that. But so, case in point, this is the part that I struggle with is, are you of the belief that any movement forward to save time and to be able to pump out more information and more content is good? Or because that's essentially what these AI features are helping with, right? They're helping us be more efficient. Or are we somehow going to lose the art of us having to actually learn how to do stuff? Because it almost feels like cheating to me.
Yeah. No,
right?
yeah. I completely agree. And that's such a loaded question, because to be honest, there's no yes or no. It's all going to depend on what's going on and what the feature is and how you're using it. It's kind of like how we were talking about with chatbots when Maya came on and AI, how we were discussing, yeah, they can help you create like a customer profile or they can help you target your specific customer. But if you put in all of that information, like you are giving away personal information and that's not okay. So it really depends on the feature that you're using, how you're using it, and what information they're getting out of you. I do also want to say human touch is always going to be better than AI.
Oh, absolutely, right? Because you're going to start to be able to tell when it's like I can already do so. I can already tell when things are AI generated. Like when someone's using Chat GPT to write stuff, I can tell when it's coming from Chat GPT because it just doesn't have this natural cadence or use of words, right? It's like these like not perfectly formed sentences, but sentences just sound very different. Now, here's the thing. This is where I feel like I have this weird thing where in my head, I naturally always go to the worst case scenario, which isn't a bad thing all the time. I think it helps me with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But when I first saw this with the eye, right, diversion, where it's like, okay, now you could be reading off of a script and then the AI tool will divert your eye to look on screen and it looks natural. My thing is this pumped up. What is this going to look like 5 years from now? So right now, people go to what do you call it? Broadcasting communications, right? So if you want to be a news anchor, you go to school, right? They teach you how to be present in front of a camera, how to deliver news and important information, and all this stuff. If eventually you have AI tools that are going to be helping with this, I just kind of feel like at some point, I, as the consumer, as the viewer, am not going to be able to tell the difference because this AI technology is going to be so good that I'm not going to be able to tell the difference between them looking this way, off to the right, and them looking straight at me. And then it just makes me feel like, is that important? Do I need to know that?
Well, we kind of already have that because we have deep fakes. Are they common? No, but it's still a thing. I think for one, we're not going to be able to stop it. That is absolutely where technology is going. And I do want to say, for the argument that, and this argument always comes up with new technology. Okay, but this technology is going to be taking people's jobs. I don't want to have a stance on that. No comment from me. But I do want to say that happens with every single type of technology.
Yes. And to your point, I do think this. I do think as technology progresses, no matter what it is, the true measure of like job skill set and everything really isn't in the fact that it replaces people or it takes people's jobs, but in how you utilize the technology, right? So I've heard this said time and again about Chat GPT. You can use Chat GPT. At the end of the day, what it's going to do is it's going to create a sub group of team members that eventually in a business you may need to be able to get the best prompts and to be able to utilize the technology the best. Because at the end of the day, if you're running a business, you are likely not the person that's going to be sitting down utilizing ChatGPT. You may personally for other stuff, but you're probably going to outsource that function to somebody that is way more efficient at using it and that can actually get and extract the information that you're wanting from it. So I do think to your point, it's not so much that it's going to replace jobs, which I mean, I'm sure it will. They'll create other jobs.
Yeah.
And, as technology progresses, we just naturally fill gaps differently,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the part, you had mentioned deep fake. There was another thing that I wanted to bring up today
Okay.
where I just read this. It popped up on my Instagram feed like last night.
Mm-hmm.
This high school girl apparently comes home and she tells her mother that she was called down to the principal's office because there was a boy in her high school class that had basically used her image, her face, and put it on. It wasn't exactly like pornographic stuff, but it was very like sketch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the point being, it wasn't her. It wasn't her
Yeah.
body. It was her image on
Mm-hmm.
something, but it wasn't her. And you really couldn't tell the difference. So when you're talking about
Yeah.
like deep fakes, I think that's the thing is as this AI technology gets better and better, at some point, I mean, this was in high school. These are high
Yeah.
school kids and they're
Yeah.
figuring out how to use this technology for random crap like this,
Yeah.
right?
I will say I'm not surprised. And again, that just comes with new technology. I mean, every time we create something, someone's going to use it for not good reasons. There's not really anything we can, I mean, we can
Nefarious
try to,
reasons, yeah.
yeah, we can try to prevent it and stuff like that. But, there's some not great people out there. I do want to reel this back in, though. I was doing research for this episode. According to a recent study by Zero, 73% of small business owners are concerned with AI development and concerned that the development is outpacing regulation. Kind of what we're talking about right now, that people are using it for nefarious reasons. 38% are specifically concerned about sensitive information disclosure. 36% are concerned about data privacy violations, and 35 are concerned about worker displacement. So kind of what we're talking about right now. Is AI going to take some jobs? Are people going to be using it for nefarious reasons like we're talking about right now? Is it going to take our information and use it inappropriately, or just take it to begin with, period? We're not trying to share that information. That's kind of the concern
Yeah.
that small businesses
And
have right now.
And I think that comes with kind of like what you were saying, which is we're not, and I'm the first one to admit this.
Mm-hmm.
Even with as much as I read, and because a lot of the tools that we use on a daily basis are rolling out AI type features,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not super comfortable with it. And so I
Yeah.
think about this often because I'm like, if I am purposefully going out there and reading about it, I'm watching YouTube videos about it, I'm learning. I watched a 45-minute IBM video about their AI stuff that they're rolling out here in the next, like year or two. And
Yeah.
it was for the very specific reason that I want to know more about the workings of it because I'm like, that's how I'm going to get comfortable with it is if I
Mm-hmm.
know way more about it than just what's on surface level. But if I'm having that trepidation and I am out there seeking information, I can't imagine that as a small business owner who is running the day-to-day operations, managing staff on the daily, and then on top of it, having to try to market and promote your own business that you don't have the time to go out there and research this stuff. Or if
Yeah.
anything, I'd prioritize spending time with my family over looking into AI stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we do. I do want to say that just to remind you guys, if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because as this stuff rolls out, we are going to be doing more videos where we explain stuff. I say we do a pretty good job of explaining things so that you can understand it and figure out if you want to be using it in your small business to promote yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so please go subscribe to The Seasoned Marketer if you haven't done so.
Yes. Now, I do want to bring up this article again because the same article did another study. And they found a very concerning statistic, at least for me, which is nearly half of business owners have said that they trust AI with identifiable customer information, and 41% with their sensitive commercial information. What are you doing? No, absolutely not. And I find this statistics very interesting because in the same article, they were saying, oh, small businesses are very concerned about sensitive information disclosure and data privacy, but at the same time, small businesses are still giving these AIs that information. I think a great example of this when, again, we had this conversation with Maya, and she brought up a great point. An example of a small business owner saying, oh, hey, this person hasn't come in a while. Let me ask ChatGPT or a chatbot what I should do to get them to come back in. And then they go ahead and give all of the customer information to ChatGPT. You can't be doing that. You don't know what they're using. You don't know if they're storing that data. You don't know if they're using that data, if they're selling it to someone else. You cannot give out private information. If you're not comfortable walking down the street and telling a random person this information, don't be putting it into a chatbot.
Chelsea, you don't remember these days, but back in the day when you used to pay by credit card, you literally would hand someone your credit card. They would put it in this little thing that looked like I don't know how to explain it. It kind of looked like a gauntlet to me, but like you would put it and you would move this thing over. So basically it was pressing down the numbers. It was making a copy of this credit card without using a scanner. Okay. And it was just impressing the numbers of the credit card and all the information onto this slip. And so you would give a copy, the yellow copy, to the customer, and then you would keep the pink and the black copy underneath it. But so the reason I bring this up is it reminds me of like what you just said. If you're walking down the street and you're not openly giving people information, if you would feel weird about sharing information like that with somebody, with a stranger, you shouldn't be putting it in ChatGPT. It's like having one of those slip copies of credit card numbers sitting in a box and then just kind of leaving it out in the middle of the street. Like, hey, information's there for you guys to take. I don't know who's going to drive by. I don't know for what purpose they're going to use that information for, but it's very similar. And I think that's where the talk I was watching on IBM, they were talking about security measures that they were doing, right? And how deep those security measures were. And the reason they were doing it was in particular for businesses so that they would feel good about the fact that the data was never going to be compromised. But, you know, it's like when we're collecting email addresses, you have to tell people up front what you're going to be using their email addresses for. That is just standard protocol, good practice. And, you know, don't be a shitty person. Like, don't be doing shady stuff and compromising people's information. So I think great reminder that everybody needs to hear. If you should not be sharing identifiers and stuff like that on ChatGPT or any other AI tool just because you do not know, unless you have specifically read their privacy policy. If it's posted somewhere and you feel confident that you can hold them liable to it if anything happens down the road, then then that's one thing.
Exactly. Like with IBM, you're saying that they're specifically making sure they're going to have specific privacy, security, all that stuff. You don't know with ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can look that stuff up, but if you're not going to look that stuff up, then I would just assume that they're going to be using your information inappropriately. Not that I think they would be, but like it's it's to keep you safe, you know?
Yes. Let's go back to talking about some of these AI tools and how they're becoming integrated, because I do think that perhaps there are people out there that aren't aware of some of the things that you can do with AI these days. And so I did want to talk about, we've already discussed Descript and how this video editor is utilizing AI. Another thing that they have done is you can actually, with these video editors, you can actually redo an entire background. So for example, in the YouTube space, a lot of time people spend money to set up a good background because they're going to consistently be posting videos and they want it to look a certain way.
Instead of
now
having
you don't
a
even need
couch
to do
behind
that
them.
because now instead of having just a couch, they actually, now you can create an entire like background that looks, and I'm not talking about Zoom stuff because Zoom does this to some extent.
Yeah.
This stuff looks really good. It looks really, really good. And so that's where, you can now do that. The other thing that I think is interesting that people don't realize, if you have headshots taken, or let's say you work with someone, a photographer that uses Adobe Photoshop, Photoshop has done this thing where now, let's say I'm wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. You can go in and you can select the white t-shirt, and in the AI tool, you can actually type something that says blue button-down blouse.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
it will take that white t-shirt and it will switch it out to a blue button-down blouse. And you can keep doing this and switching out the outfits. And so that's what I'm saying, where yeah, it's getting to the point where it's you definitely, AI is getting better, and you can use it for all kinds of different things now.
I have a question for that Adobe Photoshop. How good of quality is that? Because here's the thing. Canva, love Canva. Magic Studio, they came out. If you don't have us on social media, go to our social media, watch the video I did about all of the new AI features that they have. One of the features, you can type what you want Canva to change about an image and it'll change it. It doesn't always produce the best image. It just looks funky. I will say they've gotten better and some of the results are pretty good, but usually it just doesn't look right. Is Adobe any better? Do you know?
Yeah, AI features in Canva, it is a lot better. AI features in Canva, I think, are still very clunky. Adobe has a lot more resources, I believe, to be able to kind of amp their stuff up. And from the tutorials that I have seen, it's pretty darn good. I mean, they switched this girl's shirt out. The video I was watching, I don't know how many different times, and every time it looked natural. It looked like she was actually wearing it. And now, granted, keep in mind that for an application like Photoshop, you have to be, I think you have to be good at using the tool to begin with, the application, right?
Yeah.
So I probably would not get the same out of it as someone who has been using Photoshop for 10 years, because they know it well and they can use it well. For me, I'm still very clunky in it. So it probably, it's user error on my part, right? But yeah, to your point, I did use a tool in Canva the other day. It was one of the apps that they had within there. And if you guys don't already know, first of all, let me back up and say, Chelsea encouraged you to find us on Instagram so that you could check out the reel that she was talking about, which is a quick tutorial of the AI feature in Canva. That's going to be found under The Seasoned Marketer. So if you're not following us, go do that. She shares really great information on there about anything from holiday shopping to how to use some of these tools. But the other part is, when I went in and I used it, it was, I think I asked it to create, I was going to superimpose a product. And I had looked at the backgrounds. I didn't really care for any of the backgrounds because I was looking something that was very specific to a kitchen counter. And so I went in there and I played around with the AI generator. It gave me some pretty good photos. It wasn't what I was looking for, but like I said, it's because my prompting probably was not as helpful or as narrowed down as it could have been. And so that's where, utilizing these tools is really going to focus and boil down to you being able to prompt the system enough to get exactly what you want out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Knowing how to phrase things so that you get the result that you want is going to be a big, big contributing factor to the results that you get.
Do you love making crafts and working on your small business but struggle to get them in front of customers?
Do craft fairs, events, or pop-ups leave you feeling overwhelmed or frustrated?
Introducing Rock Your Fair, the course designed to help you succeed in the world of craft fairs, pop-ups, and events, created by two marketing professionals with over 15 years of experience. Rock Your Fair is perfect for anyone who's new to the game or just wants to step up their game.
Our step-by-step approach will guide you through everything you need to know, from choosing the right events to setting up your booth to marketing your products effectively.
And you know what? You'll also get access to us for personalized coaching and feedback so you can put your best foot forward.
Do not let craft fairs, pop-ups, and events hold you back. Sign up for Rock Your Fair today and start rocking your way to success.
For a limited time, get access to our free mini course. Simply head over to our website at www.theseasonmarketer.com and click on workshops.
I do have an example of AI. It's not business related, but I do want to bring it up because it's Spotify. And I love Spotify. If you know anything about me, I love Spotify. I love music. Spotify now has a DJ AI, and it's like you're listening to the radio, but it's specifically curated for you. And it'll even talk to you. So when I'll play it, and it'll say, "Oh, hey, Chelsea, coming up on your playlist, I'm playing you this, this, and this." I love it. Tim hates it. He doesn't like it. He says it's creepy, but I personally love it because it plays music that I either already enjoy or it knows I'm going to enjoy. I like the interaction because it's kind of like radio, and I get that interaction, but there's no ads because I have premium. I love it. 10 out of 10.
It's really weird because what's the difference between that and like a regular playlist?
It's that interaction. It's the DJ. It's the fake DJ, him talking to me. And also, I'm not the one creating the playlist. So I am so bad at creating playlists. I don't like doing it. I don't want to spend the time. I just listen to all of my like songs on shuffle. So that's like 5,000 songs. And I have no idea what's going to play. It's just going to be like, I can be listening to Bring Me the Horizon and then it's going to play classical piano music. So I'd rather let the DJ have like a theme and pick something for me. Spotify, what they also do is in the mornings, at least for me, when I first open it, it'll ask me, "What mood are you in today?" And I'll pick a mood and then it'll curate a playlist based off that mood too. I love it. 10 out of 10.
So it looks like AI, they're using AI to make stuff hyper personalized. So basically, because they know people want stuff that is geared towards them, and instead of having to skip through songs, it's like, hey, we're going to take all the data that we collected on what you're listening to and try to sort it in some sort of fashion that's going to mesh well with the type of mood that you're in, that morning or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then present it to you. Yeah. That's awesome. I think I'm so glad you brought up that example because the thing is a lot of the examples that I was giving earlier was very focused on like graphic design creator stuff. But like you're saying, for businesses that are in different niches or just different industries, the applications and over time, how you can utilize the technology to really be able to customize for your customer, right? The stuff that they're viewing and listening and absorbing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just going to help your brand and your business that much more because it looks like you're able to tailor their preference. I do want to talk about maybe what one of the things that I think about most often as a downside to, well, let's stick with the upside, okay, with the advantages. Is there any other advantage, Chelsea, that you think, these AI tools are bringing to the table for small businesses?
Well, I think it's what we've discussed before, helping you come up with ideas, helping you be creative. It's just knowing how to use these AIs to actually help you, because I feel like if you fall down that rabbit hole too much, then you're just going to end up hurting you because you're going to have to learn how to do all this stuff. It's going to take up a lot of your time. You're not going to get the results that you want. So I think just keeping it simple, knowing what you know, using it as simply as possible, I want to say, because I think, again, small businesses, the biggest advantage that you have is that your business is you. So keep it personal and true to yourself. And don't put too much AI into it because then it just becomes, I mean, like you were saying, you can recognize AI now. You can recognize when something's written by a chatbot or something like that.
Well, so maybe it's more so because chatbots are actually really great. So here's the thing is looking at it as an extender of you, right? So the fact is with a chatbot, And for you guys that don't know, a chatbot is basically you can now, there are lots of companies that you could go and sign up and they charge you a monthly fee. And what you do is you basically can integrate code on your website, right? So you integrate it with your website. And what it allows is, those little pop up boxes, like when you're on Verizon.com or something, they have a pop up box that says, hey, do you want to chat with support or what are you here for, right? And then you can select and it kind of guides you through how connecting you with the resources you're looking for. And so if that is something that you're interested in doing with your business, let's say that you are you're a dentist office and everybody goes home at 5 p.m. So you don't have staff to answer the phones after that, but you integrate this chat bot onto your website and it allows you the capability to actually schedule dental appointments after hours without you having to pay someone to be answering the phone. That's something that you would want to do because it's like an extension of you. Now, a lot of times, even if they're not able to schedule these appointments, you can actually, from a customer service perspective, get their information, then have someone call them the next day. So you're not losing out on that.
Exactly. I do want to clarify, when I was talking about chatbots, I was talking about small business owners using chatbots to come up with content. So ChatGPT, Copy AI, that sort of thing. Small businesses using chatbots on their website, great idea. You should totally do that. I'm saying if you're going to ChatGPT or Copy AI or a chatbot where you're inputting something to get something out of it, I would use it to be creative. I wouldn't necessarily use it for information that you don't necessarily know about, or I wouldn't use it to copy and paste a caption into social media, etc.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the downfalls or the gaps with AI currently. And one of them you just touched on, which is I think a lot of people don't recognize that there is a big discrepancy in where it's pulling information and data. Chelsea, what was the last year that ChatGPT updated their records?
So right now, ChatGPT is updated up to January 2022. So anything past that point, it does not know about.
Yes. And so, case in point, if you guys are looking to get information that, that perhaps has changed since that date, the information you're getting from some of these chatbots isn't going to be updated. And so that's the risk you're running. If you are just taking verbatim what they're saying, or you're using it as this is my end all be all, you may have bad information. You may have outdated information. So that's something you definitely need to know about and look out for. And then the big thing for me that I think is probably the biggest disadvantage or pitfall is I feel like over time, it's going to create a very homogenous environment. And what I mean by that is if we're going out there and we're using the same tools to give us information, how many different variations and ways can you do that? So like you said, the biggest advantage we have as small business owners is that we are all unique. We have very different brains. We think about things differently. And therefore, when we present information, we are able to present it in 20 million variations because we all think differently. When you start using these platforms and apps to help you with stuff, and we're all asking it to do the same thing, that's why a lot of these social media captions are starting to look the same. They're using all these emojis. They're doing all this stuff because we're using the same tools. And so my concern is that over time, we just may become mirrors and duplicating, copying each other. And it's not going to create enough of a differential, or we're not going to stand out as much. And so as a small business owner, I would just say, use these tools. Let them help you cut down on the time you're spending on this stuff, but you guys still have to sprinkle in there your brand identity, and you have to be able to present your information in the best way that only your small business can.
I think that was very well said. Great point. I mean, again, ChatGPT, chatbots, all that kind of stuff, AI sounds like AI. It sounds like AI. You can tell when it's written like that. You need to showcase your brand, who your small business is. That's a big part of marketing, and that's a big part of drawing people to your small business, is showing them who you are. I understand that you might want to save some time. I'm telling you, you're not going to save that much time. Go ahead and add your branding into everything that you write. Don't just copy and paste what ChatGPT gives you.
Yeah, it's very weird. The other part of it too is on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, on all this stuff where people are sharing videos, no matter how different the topics may be or the industry, what's interesting is that you start to see the same, like the captions, the subtitles, all of that stuff looks the same. And it's weird because it gives you, like I said, it's just this deja vu thing for me all the time. Like, I know I'm watching a video on a different topic, but it just feels like the same video I just watched, just on a different topic, because they're copying each other's style and all that. And I get it. You want to do what works. I understand that. And you need to be effective at that. But we are, like I said, my only concern is that over time, we're just all going to start to look like each other. And, you know, I don't know, that spark maybe might dwindle a little bit. So keep that spark alive, y'all.
Yeah.
Be yourself, be unique.
Yes. So let's go back. Initial topic. Has AI gone too far? Yes or no?
I say no, only because I feel like I can't fight it, because it's something that's coming no matter what, regardless of whether or not Vivian Walton likes it, it's coming down the pipeline.
Absolutely. Has AI gone too far? No. I mean, AI is a tool. Have people used it to go too far? Yes. Have people used a bunch of other stuff to go too far? Yes. Just be smart about how you use AI. Use it as a tool as you see fit. Let's just be smart.
And if you guys have any questions about AI that you think we can help answer, please email us at help@theseasonmarketer.com, and we'll try to be sure to either, figure out some way to respond to you, whether it's through a message or an email about it. But we want to hear from you, because we want to know what your mindset is about it, where you guys are, and if you think that, it's something that's scary, that you're a little concerned about, or if it's something that you're gung-ho about and you're ready to start integrating it into your small business. But it is, as Chelsea said, just with anything else in life, right? It can be used for good. It could be used for evil. Hopefully all of our small business owners out there will use it for good.
Yes.
And very few for evil. So be sure that you guys are also on our email list, because we do share a lot of this information as it rolls out on our email list as well. So
yes. Well, I think this was a great episode. Thank you, Vivian, for talking to me about AI. Before we wrap up, I do want to say thank you again for listening. If you could go subscribe, follow. We're on YouTube. We're on all the platforms where you can listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, only 5 stars. We will not accept anything less. And share this with someone who you think it could really benefit. Go out there and be the best SOB you can be.